And then my mom also sat us down, and I appreciate my mom for this. Like, she had a very honest conversation with us and said, guys, university is expensive and times are tough. So you guys need to like get good grades so you can get scholarships and bursaries.
Sure.
And that's what happened to my sister. She got, when she matriculated, she did so well. She got a scholarship that, was willing to pay for everything. And I looked around me and I was like, yeah, she's not lying. My mom's not lying. It's true. Like, if I don't work hard, I don't know what I'm going to do.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Voices of the Fraternity with myself, Manda, and we continue with the world of academia. That's the fraternity we're focusing on this month of June. So fitting because it's June, month of education, June 16. I get a labon. Wakopana, more Voices of the Fraternity. Please remember to subscribe, to comment, to like, and to share with your friends. In today's episode, we've got my friend Nomzamo Dlamini. I'm lying. I've got Dr. Nomzamo Dlamini. Hey, friend.
Hi, friend.
How are you?
I'm nervous, but I'm good. Thank you. Thank you.
She giggles under nerves.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Let's start with, well, just a week ago, we were celebrating your graduation, right? And your mom told us the meaning of your name and the circumstances around your name. So I've got this new thing where I ask, what does your name mean? And what were the circumstances around your name? Why did they give you that name?
Okay. First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me. And I'm so glad, I've told you this before, I'm so happy that you created this platform and that you exist on the internet.
Aww.
Yeah, I enjoy your personality so much. So it's so cool that you get to share it with everyone else.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thanks.
Yeah. So my name, Nomzamo, it comes from the Zulu word ukuzama, which means to try. So when you add nom, you feminize the name, then it becomes she who tries, she who strives.
Sure.
And so how that name came about is I am second of 4 children, and the first is a girl, my older sister. So naturally, the second child, I think,
Is expected to be a boy.
yeah, my dad especially apparently wanted a boy. And when my mom went for those scans, they were told that I'm a boy. Somehow they saw boy features, I don't know. And then when I came out, I was a girl. And yeah, to my parents' surprise. But so my grandma said, you guys tried Nizamile. So Nomzamo. But then my mom says she was happy. She was happy to have me. And then she named me Ntabiseng. Like Ntabiseng, be happy with me.
Yes.
Because I'm happy. So let's all just be happy. We have a healthy baby. And so yeah, Nomzamo Ntabiseng.
Yes. Nomzamo Ntabiseng, please tell us about your upbringing. Where are you from, and what was your childhood like?
Okay, so I was born in Pretoria, raised in Pretoria, schooled in Pretoria. I grew up in a middle class home, in a middle class suburb. Like I said, I have 3 siblings, and it was me, them, and my parents, and yeah, like I when I was in primary school, I was a very playful child. I loved being outside. I loved playing with my friends.
Yeah.
Just running around, just playing. I was very playful. Um, so even my grades in primary school were just like average because
Really?
I love play. I wanted to be outside. I love playing, but at the same time, I did enjoy school and I did enjoy doing sports and just being outside. Um, but then I always knew that I my parents are smart people. When they were in school, they were super smart,
Yeah.
and even extended family members would tell us, or that your mom was always one of the top students. Your dad, my dad has this picture where he's sitting in a classroom, and he has some of his classmates like huddled up around him, and he's like teaching them math.
Oh,
Like he
nice.
was the the teacher he said the teacher used to count on him to teach some
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
classmates math, those who were like lagging behind. So I just always knew that my parents were these super smart people. And then also I watched my sister. She was in love with books, always reading books.
Yeah.
Um, and um, yeah, I just like, okay, people, and there were always books around the house.
Yeah.
Um, so my sister went to boarding school most of her schooling life. But then there was this one time where in high school they had awards or something like that. So we got to go to her school, and she was awarded for being one of the top students. And I was like, oh, so you're like smart, smart.
You're not just smart.
Yeah, like you're smart, smart. And yeah, and then I think I was inspired by her. I wasn't necessarily like in primary school, at least I was playful, but I always knew subconsciously that, okay, I'm in a family where people are smart and they love books, and then it started growing on me like towards the end of primary school.
Okay.
And then I made friends who love reading, who love books, and then I started being like, oh, okay, yeah, this is kind of fun. And then my grades kind of improved from there.
Sure. And do you remember what you wanted to become, like the first career you ever wanted to be growing up?
um I wanted to be so many things.
Yeah.
And one thing I appreciate about my parents is they always supported me. They never like, no, you can't do that. Like they let me be. I remember at some point I wanted to be a historian, and
Sure.
then I wanted to be a dancer, and then like I was just all over the place. Yeah, but they just let me be. They didn't impose, anything on me or on us.
Yeah.
The only thing my dad said in grade 9 when choosing my grades was just make sure you have math and science. I don't
Okay.
care about anything else. Yeah. And so I did that. But then eventually, I when it was time to choose grades in grade 10, time to choose subjects for grade 10, I was like, yeah, I like food. I really like food. I'm interested in food. I'm very curious about food. I want to know how they put the chocolate in the Smarties. How did it
Sure.
get there? Those were my questions. And I think also growing up, visiting both my paternal and my maternal grandmothers, they would like grow their own food, and I would watch how my grandma would turn like leftover pap or putu into mageu, and that
Yes.
fascinated me. And she would make like traditional Zulu beer, and I was always with her in the kitchen, like doing it with her. And I thought it was so cool how she could just be cooking and then go outside, get some spring onions and cook with it. That I was like, growing your own food, what a concept.
Yeah.
That was so fascinating to me. And then also like in biology, when you start learning about how eating certain vitamins or can prevent such and such diseases. And then I started being like, oh, food is actually, important. And
Yeah.
then when you hear about how there's like malnutrition issues in Africa, children die early unnecessarily because of malnutrition and all of these things. And then I started, and then another thing, I enjoyed science. Science just made sense to my brain.
Yeah. This
And
is
then
physical science.
Yeah, physical
Sure.
science. And then one time I was reading through a prospectus for the University of Pretoria, and I saw there's a thing called food science, and I thought, that is it. That's what I'm going to
That's what
do.
you're going to study.
Yeah.
Oh, my
because
word.
It has, like, it combines everything I like and I enjoy and I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And so I chose my subjects accordingly. I did science. It was called physical science, life science, which is like biology, and then consumer science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why the University of Pretoria, having lived your entire life in Pretoria?
So, uh, like I said, towards the end of primary school, I started taking my school seriously. And then my mom also sat us down. And I appreciate my mom for this. Like, she had a very honest conversation with us and said, guys, university is expensive and times are tough. So you guys need to like get good grades so you can get scholarships and bursaries.
Sure.
And that's what happened to my sister. She got, when she matriculated, she did so well. She got a scholarship that, was willing to pay for everything. And I looked around me and I was like, yeah, she's not lying. My mom's not lying. It's true. Like, if I don't work hard, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so then I started taking school seriously, to the point where in matric, I made it to the top 10. I was a top 10 student. And the University of Pretoria did this thing where, I don't know if they still do it, but with the junior techie program, they would take top 10 students from schools, I think in Pretoria.
Yeah.
I'm not sure like to what extent.
They definitely didn't reach Limpopo.
Sorry. But yeah, then we were given an opportunity to basically go to the university, and we were given an opportunity to apply earlier for school and even for res. And for that reason, I think like many of your guests, I was sure that, no, I'm going to UP and I'm applying to UP. I don't need to waste my time
Yeah.
looking for other universities. And I think the other universities that had food science were Free State and Stellenbosch. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to UP. So I applied to UP. And all I needed to do was make sure that I will get good grades at the end of matric so I can actually go.
Yeah.
Because you're provisionally accepted, right? And then your final marks are the ones that determine. So yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm going to UP, and yeah.
And how was transitioning into UP? Because you didn't stay at home, you then stayed at res, so
Yes.
it's a whole new world in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was indeed a whole new world. But because so yeah, I did eventually get my funding, and because I was so hell-bent on succeeding and making it, and I knew that school is one thing I'm good at, and it's the one thing I had going for me,
Sure.
and I needed it to work. So from like primary school, high school, I loved being at school, and I was at school every day. I never missed a day of school. And so I kept that same energy in varsity.
Yeah.
I attended every single lecture. I had so much anxiety. I really thought that if I missed a lecture, everything would fall apart. And so, yeah, I was always in my lectures, always studying, always at school. And I remember I was like, my first chemistry test, I failed it, and that really shocked me to the core, because I felt like I gave it my all.
Yeah.
But turns out, it wasn't enough. And so I went to the lecturer's office to find out what happened? Like, what am I supposed to do? And there was this other girl, this now friend of mine, very good friend of mine, Helia. She was going to ask the same thing. And we were like, you know what? Let's start studying together.
Yeah.
And so we did. And that helped so much. We had this like working relationship where I attend lectures, she stays home, because she struggled to wake up early in the morning. We had like 7:30 classes. I would, even if we'd study till 3 a.m., I would always be up for the 7:30 class. And I'd go to class and I'd, make my notes, and then she'd stay home, read the textbook, and then when we come together, we bring that together, and then, then I started doing a lot better. Yeah.
And
yeah.
Yeah, from there you didn't really struggle with the academics of the degree.
Yeah, I would say if you look at my transcript, it says, yeah, I didn't struggle. And I even like got into Golden Key and what have you.
Yeah.
But it felt like a struggle. I really felt it was very hard for me. When I look back at undergrad, I'm like, I never again.
I remember you were like,
Yeah.
never again.
Never again. Never again. Yeah. Yeah, no. I was, and when I finished in my last year, in my honors year, it was during that fees must fall
Yes.
period. And I remember I had to like be on campus to do my lab work so I can do my final project. And the deadline was the deadline. And students are blocking the gates.
Were you one of those students? Some of us want to study.
Yeah, I'm kind of ashamed to say I was one of those. I was one of those students. I was like, the deadline is the deadline. I need to get out of this university.
Yeah.
I need to get a job. I need to finish in record time. I need to not disappoint my parents and my funders. That was me.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of,
Yeah.
the bigger
the bigger
picture.
picture.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the deadline was the deadline, and I was so stressed and worried about it to the point where when I finally finished, I was like, yeah, I'm never going back to school again. I'm done. It's enough. It's fine.
And at that point, so your 3-year degree and your honors, what would you say were your highlights in your 4 years at the University of Pretoria?
Oh, my friends. Hanging out with my friends, being with
I
my
are
friends.
the friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, yeah, being with my friends, meeting my friends, hanging out with my friends. Those were my highlights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lowlights?
Genetics. It was this module called genetics. And when I look back at it now, and I think about the things that were happening to me, and after going to therapy and all of this, I realized those were panic attacks. I was having panic attacks. But at the time, I didn't realize what was happening. Yeah, genetics really put me through the most.
What would the attacks look like?
Like, we walking to the exam. I'm with my friends. We walking to the exam. I'm like, I have my notes. And then I just stop. I just start crying.
Really?
Yes, I just start crying. I'm like, my heart is like, my chest is so tight.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't studied. I haven't done anything. Meanwhile, I've been studying the whole night, the whole week.
Yeah.
And I'm so scared. I really feel like I'm going to fail. But yeah, it always turned out a lot better than I thought it would. But in my head, it just always felt like a catastrophe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially with that module, genetics. Yeah.
Okay. And now you're done.
Yes.
Did you want to go work?
I did.
Is it?
I did. So after I finished, it took a bit of time for me to find a job. I think I spent like maybe like 4 to 6 months at home trying to look for a job, and I wasn't finding a job. And then eventually I went to this recruitment agency, and I asked them, like, please help me get a job. And then they said, okay, come in, let's have a chat, see what you are interested in so we can find a job that's suitable for you. And they were asking me questions like, what are your interests? Why did you study what you studied? And I was like, oh, because, I care about malnutrition. I want to, contribute to solving those problems. Yeah, I just feel burdened by food-related
Wow.
problems in the world, and I don't understand why there's no need for people to go hungry. There's no need for people to be malnourished, and I want to contribute to solving those problems. And they were like, yeah, your best bet is to do research, like go back to school and do research. And in my head, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Sorry. Yeah. But then eventually they did help me find a job in the Eastern Cape, and I moved to the Eastern Cape. I lived there for 2 years. And yeah, it was a good job. I enjoyed it. I did great.
Yeah.
I grew so much. When you work for a small company, you get to do so much. You do a lot of things. And yeah, I grew a lot. I learned a lot. And I'm so grateful for that experience. But after the first year, like maybe around like 1.5 years of me being there, working there, and also being on my own in a whole other city, I was like, yeah, maybe those ladies were right. Maybe I should go back to school, because in as much as I was doing well in my job, I wasn't really feeling fulfilled. I felt like I'm doing all this work to make this one guy at the top rich.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. I felt like I want to do work that matters, work that changes the world, that makes the world a better place. And so I talked to my family. I called my parents. I was like, "Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna go back to school." And I applied to UP because it's familiar. It's what I know, and I was accepted. And at the time, I didn't even have funding. When I was working in the 2 years, I was saving money aggressively. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just was. But when it came to the time of like making the decision to go back to school, I could do it. And I was confident that, okay, I can pay for my fees and I can pay for my accommodation. It's fine. So I wasn't too worried about that. So I sold my car and yeah, I went back to school. And by God's grace, in the first few months, I was involved in a project that had funding, and then I had funding, and then it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for someone who maybe they are studying food science, but they don't want to go the academia route, what kind of work were you doing in industry?
Oh, so I usually, as food scientists, we go into food safety and quality. So making sure that, the food is safe and the quality standards are met. Or you can go into product development, where you do work on like developing new products or improving products that exists. Some people even go into like flavors and fragrances. So yeah, those are the sort of main.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was working as a product development technologist. Yeah.
Okay. And when you made that switch, I guess you were clear that no, this is not for me. But there's a level of transitioning from you are getting paid every single month
Yes.
to now I'm going back to that life where I'm either eating from Cluster Cell and what was the thought process in terms of I am transitioning into what can be seen as I'm downgrading financially in a financial way.
Yeah.
What was the thought process for you, if any, or you were just clear that it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I thought about all of that, and for me it was just so important to do work that's fulfilling, to do what I want to do. And yeah, it was, I wouldn't say I was downgrading, because
Yeah.
I just in general, I'm just like a frugal person. So I wasn't, even when I was working, I wasn't like,
Yeah.
I was, yeah, I just, yeah, I wasn't really like,
Yeah. And I guess staying in the Eastern Cape, what is there
yeah,
to
what
do
can
with
you
your
do?
money?
Yeah, the only thing that made sense to me was to save money.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about retirement and all that, like just save money. So it was natural for me to transition into that. And then
Yeah.
I just always felt inspired being in an academic environment, and that for me was so fulfilling. I loved it. And so many good things kept happening. I kept getting like traveling opportunities and
Yes.
meeting all these smart people and being inspired, and I loved that life. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Tell us about. Oh, no, I'm jumping the gun. How was your master's experience? Now you're back at school.
Yeah.
You're waking up. Was it purely research or coursework and research? How was your master structured?
It was purely research.
Okay, so no classes.
No classes.
Sure.
Yeah. So I had a rough start because I had to prepare a proposal and then present that proposal. And because I joined the master's program sort of like late, it was around April, I think. I had like 1 week to prepare a proposal and then present it on the Friday. And it went so bad. It was so bad. And I presented it, and the lecturers were like, "Yeah, no, this is."
Sorry, ma'am.
And then I went home, and I had a panic attack. I had a full on panic attack. I couldn't breathe.
Sure.
Yeah, I remember my mom took me to the ER because I
Oh
really thought
no.
I can't fall asleep because I'm gonna die. I can't breathe. That's how bad it was. But then I didn't realize that it was a panic attack. It was only after,
Yeah.
like, not like reflecting. Um, but then that shocked me into being like, okay, I need to get this thing right because I've now sacrificed everything. I sold my car. I left my job.
Yeah.
I'm here now. I need to make this thing work. And then I just went hard, put in all the time,
Yeah.
and then I passed it with distinction.
Yeah.
In,
Queen.
in in a year and a half. I finished in a year and a half. When
Yeah.
I think the recommended time is 2 years. But I was just so shocked into being like, this has to work.
This. Yeah.
So yeah.
And what was the issue with the proposal?
um, I don't know. I think it was something about it. It sounded airy fairy, not no scientific rigor.
Okay.
I'm coming from the industry, so I'm
Yes.
still thinking sales, volumes, those things. And they're like, "Where's this? Where's the science?" Yeah,
This is a science degree.
yeah, yeah. So I
Okay.
think it was that.
Congratulations on your cum.
Thank you.
And after, I'm presuming, as you're doing your masters, is the plan that next up is PhD? Like it's in you clear on the next or on what your next looks like.
Oh yeah, yeah, um, yeah. I just when I left my job and went back to school, I just told myself that this is an academic hiatus, and I'm gonna do it and finish, like, to the end.
Sure.
Yeah.
And for during your master's year, I think that's when you started traveling a lot, or did that start with your PhD?
I think it started in my PhD.
In your PhD. So as a master's student, you were just purely a student.
Yeah.
Did you do any work for the faculty or really you were?
Yeah. Yeah, I was working as a teaching assistant.
Okay. And what does that look like?
It looked like grading,
The scripts.
yeah, grading scripts and practicals and preparing for practicals. Yeah, just guiding the students in general.
Yeah. And then you did your PhD. I'm sure that was
Yes.
an easy entry because you've already passed with distinction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you don't even have to apply somewhere. Just come in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How was that?
And yeah, I stayed with the same supervisor. I was just like,
Oh, okay.
it was just a natural progression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was your PhD topic? I remember it was a question we were asked at your graduation party. And we were all like, it had to do with diet. There was urban. There was. What was your topic and why that topic?
So my topic was towards sustainable diets, identifying and measuring food choice drivers in urban South Africa. So where that came from? Okay, so now I'm a food scientist, right? My undergraduate training, we're looking at quantitative data mostly. We're looking at the food, the chemistry, the biochemistry that goes behind it. But then I think as part of my job and just who I am, the empathetic person that I am, and my job and also in my master's, I started being more interested in the person eating the food and not so much the food itself and the process to getting the food. And so I started like thinking about, but why do we eat the food that we eat? Like, we have these indigenous foods and, these sustainable foods. How do we get people to eat that? But before we get there, why do we eat what we eat? What motivates what we eat right now? And that was the interest, and that's what the whole thing was about.
Sure, interesting.
Yeah.
And the period of doing your PhD, there was a lot of traveling. How does that come about? What does a PhD program look like? Because it's clearly not just researching. You guys are going open us.
So I think I was fortunate because the project, I happened to be part of a European Union funded project, which had collaborators from all over the world. Kenya, Uganda, Norway, Finland.
Yeah.
And then they had budgets for meetings. And so sometimes you able to go and attend the meeting, meet the collaborators, visit their facilities, sometimes, collect data,
Yeah.
things like that. And then also conferences, when there was funding to attend a conference. And most of the conferences in my field are like international. So I was fortunate enough to be able to attend those. And then UP also has travel bursaries
Okay.
that I applied for and I got, fortunately, and I was able to travel with that too. So, yeah.
Sure. And then there was the big travel.
Yes.
You were part of the Fulbright. Is it a scholarship? Is it a fellow? What do we call it?
Yeah, I would say a Fulbright scholarship program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you make it into that program?
Oof, yeah, Fulbright. I was really taking my chances. I was like, why would I get Fulbright? Why? Like, but let me just try.
Yeah.
I really like, it was funny, ha ha ha, submit.
Where had you heard it from? Is it something that's popularly advertised in your faculty or?
Yeah, I think also just in the university, the bursary office always sends emails with like, this is
Okay.
an opportunity you can apply for. So yeah, I applied for the Fulbright thing, and then I was shortlisted. I still didn't tell anyone. I was shortlisted. I was invited for an interview. I prepared for the interview because I was still like, okay, fine, but surely I won't make the interview. I mean, come on, it's Fulbright. It's one of the most prestigious
Very
scholarships you can
prestigious.
get. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but then I did the interview and I was so calm because I was really sure that now it's just for the experience, learning how to do an interview. And then I was shortlisted again, and then we had to write this like English test, and then I wrote the test. You think you can speak English
Until you have to.
until you have to write that test. That test was very difficult, but yeah, and then I
Is it
prepared for
testing
that.
your writing? What's it
So there's
testing?
a writing component, speaking, reading, and listening.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Then I wrote that test, and the program coordinator was like, if you don't get it the first time, we have 2 more vouchers for you. You have 3 chances. And then I got it the first time. I was so happy because I was like, I don't have time for this. I need to do my PhD, and I don't even think I'm gonna get this
Yeah.
opportunity. So let me just get it out of the way. And then I got it, and then they were like, congratulations. And then now I'm like, I have to tell my family
That.
that my family, my supervisor, that I'm leaving. Like, it's real.
Yes.
And then I went to the orientation, and they were like, congratulations. The ambassador came and addressed us, and he was like, you guys are like, cream of the crop. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, wow.
I love your disbelief and
Yeah, like,
how great you are.
I was really in disbelief. Yeah, I really was in disbelief. I didn't realize that, okay, maybe maybe I am kind of good. Yeah, so, and then I went to the US.
And what does that mean for your PhD? Because
Oh,
the scholarship is separate from this thing that you are currently
Yes.
pursuing. Yeah.
yes. So typically the program I was applying for is you if you're already in your PhD, you apply to go to the US to maybe there's equipment that we don't have an essay that you want to use, or there's
Okay.
like a course that you want to attend, or you have to motivate, why do you need to go to the US? Why the thing that you want to do, why can you not do it here?
Okay.
But by the time I got the award, I had already collected all of my data. Yeah. And so the project I ended up doing in the US was completely like kind of in line, trying to understand consumers' perceptions of food, but this time it was like the packaging,
Yeah.
and not the food itself. Like what drives your choice of packaging, which is also important
Yeah.
if we're talking
Why
about
is milk in a box?
sustainability. Yeah, why do you want to buy orange juice in a glass and not in a carton or in a plastic bottle, that kind of thing. So yeah, so I did that. So it was a whole other project that I was doing while trying to also write my PhD. So it was very tough, but
Yeah.
I am so grateful for that experience. I met so many cool, smart people. Like I made so many good networks, and just being there in that environment, seeing how they do things differently, and just being around that American confidence, that energy, and seeing people being confident about things that you are like, yeah, I do that too. That's like, and you're
Yeah.
talking about it like it's this huge thing. So it made me feel like I can be confident too. Like, I can. I'm
Yes.
great. I
Yes.
actually am great. And yeah, I think I'm so grateful for my experience in the US because, yeah, it was a huge confidence booster.
Would you say you carry that confidence now?
I would say I'm a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm a lot better. It's still a work in progress. I'm still trying to work on it. I still have to tell myself um, before like having certain meetings or like just certain engagements that, yeah, I earned being here. I am good. I
Great.
have to, it's constant work that I have to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, going there really helped me feel that I I am world class. I am. Yeah.
World class.
Yeah.
Love that. And outside of the university that you were with, I'm not going to pronounce it. Which university were you training with at there by the scholarship?
Oh, it was the University of Massachusetts Amherst.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
me, I'm not going to say that word. Uh, outside of the classrooms, what was your experience of America?
Oh, um, it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world. Um, Again, because I was doing my project there and I needed to finish, I needed to succeed, and I was also doing my PhD. Most of my weekends were spent working.
Really?
Yeah, but when I did explore, I loved like going to concerts because all the celebrities are there. Like
Yes.
they have, like there were so many concerts I could go to, and I loved that because I love music. So that was fun. And then just being in the US, like people are so carefree and like they go to campus in pajamas
Really?
and yeah. That was like a shock for me.
We've been
And I was
told to not go
seeing,
to the mall with pajamas.
listen, I was like, people don't iron their clothes and it's fine. And
Yeah.
I loved that. Like, I felt like I don't have to feel under pressure about anything. Yeah, I can just show up, do my work,
And just be.
and just be, and it's fine. Um, yeah, and everything is in abundance. The food, there's food everywhere all the time. Um, yeah, it's just a whole different world.
And how was the cold? Because I know you're not good with cold. I
Yeah.
remember seeing some of your TikToks of the snow.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so cool.
I was
But
excited
what about
the snow,
her?
though. I was
What's her
excited about the snow.
experience?
It was cold.
Yeah.
Like it was proper cold. But I don't know, like it was fine. It was manageable because their homes are built for the cold. The bus is warm. The classrooms are warm. They understand that it's cold. And so
Yeah.
they build their environment
For the
for that. And even their clothes, like their sheets, their duvets, they're warm. Like they're really warm. I don't know what they put in there, but
Yeah.
it's really warm. when I wear my jackets that I bought in the US here, I start sweating.
Sure.
Yeah, that's how warm they are. So yeah, that was fine. The winters were more forgiving than here, actually. Yeah, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And how was coming back? What did you need to do? Now we're back to your PhD. You come back. What's outstanding?
So just writing, finishing with writing the thesis
Yeah.
and publishing my papers. Yeah.
You have to. So while you're doing your PhD, you must also be writing articles.
Yes, you need to get your PhD. You need to have one published article,
Oh, wow.
at least one. Yeah, I had two, but
I mean, you Zamo. You are Zamo. Okay. And how was finally completing this thing? Because, yeah, from your graduation, you were telling us you were crying. Were you like,
yeah.
was she? So, what was the experience, especially the lived or human experience of completing a PhD? Outside of the academic, I have to do practicals, I have to write. You as a human being, what does that mean?
I had this because when I was doing my masters, I would look at people in the department who had finished their PhDs or were saying, "Yeah, I'm about to submit," and I'd be like, "Yo, when if I can just get there,"
Yeah.
and then realizing that okay, I'm there now. Like I'm there and just trying to reconcile how I'm feeling versus how I felt when I started. I felt a strong feeling of accomplishment. Like I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done this thing. And more than that, everything that I gained and learned along the way was huge. I grew so much. And I met so many amazing people who are inspiring. And yeah, it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want people to think that you're a boring academic person whose life revolves around academics. This girl is a DJ, a qualified DJ at that. Please tell us about your DJ life.
So yeah, so in matric, there's matric dance, right? But I didn't necessarily want to go. I had a serious acne problem in high school and like even early varsity. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going there. The pictures are gonna be horrible. I don't want to go. No one is even gonna ask me.
Yeah.
So then I told my parents, with the money you were gonna spend on my dress and all of that, can you give it to me? I want to do this DJing course with DJ Zintle. I don't know if the school still exists. I think it was called Fusion Academy.
Yeah.
It was all the way in Newtown. I live in Pretoria, and sometimes I'd take the train, or I'd take a taxi, and I'd go on Saturday mornings, and I'd learn how to be a DJ, and then I was a DJ.
With gigs.
And then I had gigs. Yeah, in first year, on Friday evenings, I would go to when there were still Stones.
Yes.
Yeah, I go to Stones, play music from 6 to 7, and then go back to Res and study.
Would you go back? Would you gig now at your current age and stage?
During my PhD, I was like, something I want to reward myself with when I'm done with this is my own set of CDJs.
Sure.
So I can, go back to it because I still love music. I love curating playlists. So I would do it, but for me or for my family or for my friends, not necessarily in a club. Because in as much as I loved playing music, I didn't enjoy the club environment. I was like looking at people making bad decisions, and I'm like, I'm perpetuating that by playing music.
Sure.
And it didn't feel good. But I still love and enjoy music. So
Yeah.
I would do it for like private,
Okay, private functions. Love that.
Yeah.
And now post PhD, what are you doing?
So now I work as a postdoctoral researcher still at the University of Pretoria. And a postdoc is like, it's kind of like a transition from being a PhD student into like being your own independent researcher, and also you get to also like teach students. So just preparing you for being a fully blown lecturer, professor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there like a timeline to that? Like, is there, you can be a postdoc researcher for X amount of time, and then the next step is XYZ?
Yeah. So, yeah, like a postdoc is not a postdoctoral fellowship is not a permanent job. It's usually like a 1 or 2 year contract. Some people do like multiple postdocs at different universities before they get their big break as,
Okay.
a lecturer or what have you. So yeah, it depends on your journey, what you find if you get a job and all of that. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my first postdoc, and yeah, I'm yet to see what's going to come next.
Yeah. And do you have, what would you, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself mostly as a researcher, or would you like to be a lecturer, a professor? You are building a generation of professionals and students.
It would be nice to be able to do both, but I would like to spend most of my time doing research.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're a special one, eh?
Yeah, I love research. I'm so curious. I'm such a curious person. And yeah, research is my home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Zamo, thank you for gracing my stage.
Has it been an hour already? Wow, okay.
Do you have more? Do you have any words of wisdom? Because you are a ball of wisdom to
Oh, wow.
our viewers
Thank you.
and our watchers. Yeah, on your journey.
If I look back and think about why I was able to do what I was able to do, I think one of the biggest things for me is the fact that I could make the decision to leave my job and sell my car and go to school and not worry about who's going to fund me. So save money.
Yes. And you're wild with saving.
Save money. Yeah. That's what I'll say. Save money, because that gives you the power to do what you actually want to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. To follow those dreams and
Yes.
your passion, which eventually becomes a paying job.
Yeah.
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 Okay. No, thank you very much. I love you so much.
I love
and
you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I can't believe, after your graduation party, I was like, Kinalidi Cho, you know? Like, I got friends who are doing big things in their respective careers. And it's so beautiful to see people pursue their passions and their dreams. We've got you. You've pursued and you've reached the highest level of where one can be academically in terms of studies. We've got Tiamo, who is an engineer, and she's like, I'm gonna go model.
Yeah. Badass.
I was speaking to Bridget. She wants to now pivot into something else. I'm like, go for it, guys.
Yeah.
Go fly, okay?
And then
we've
you.
got Dawn, who did food science.
Yes.
And she's like, I actually like something different.
Yeah.
I don't actually like the space. Like, and then there's me.
Yeah.
Where I'm in my
You've
legal
done
and
so
I'm like,
great. Yeah.
yeah. And I think to anyone who's watching, really, you're not limited to the specific career that you are doing. There is, the encouragement would be follow your dreams.
Yes.
To
think you started doing information science.
I started with information
You
science.
even got into Golden Key with that. And you were like, still, it's not for me.
I'm good, but no.
Yeah.
Take me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
You're also very inspiring.
Yeah. And we're not one dimensional. We're not limited to one specific thing. There's so
Yes.
much to do, and we've got capacity to do everything
Yes.
that our hearts and minds perceive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you, my star,
Yeah.
my doctor.
Thank you. Thank you, friend.
To the viewers and the listeners at home, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please do leave us a comment. Please do like. If you're shy, if you don't want to say anything in the comment section, just press that like button. But if you are shy, I would encourage you to just leave a heart. You're not saying anything, you're just leaving a heart. And then please subscribe and join our 1,000 plus subscribers.
Hey, let's go.